We'll have Coach Fritz go make an opening statement, and then we'll open up for questions. We'll use that raise your hand feature. Coach Fritz, whenever you're ready.
You betcha. Appreciate everybody coming on. We're very, very, very excited about this class that we just signed. There's going to be a couple of additions. Some of the guys are having their ceremonies later in the week, and unfortunately, with NCAA rules, we can't, announce those. And one of whom is already signed, but he wants us to wait, so we're going to do that. So the class is even going to get bigger and better here in another couple days. So we just gotta. We're only able to really. I only want to comment on the guys that were, that have signed and have already had their ceremony and all those kind of different things. But I think it's a great class. We got 15 of the guys are from the great state of Texas. Uh, we'll have a couple more here in another couple days. Two from the state of Louisiana. We've got a little recruiting deal called the Bayou to Bayou. And we've had some great players from Louisiana, obviously. I've got great background in the state of Louisiana. They got great football over there as well. Not as great as the state of Texas, but great football. And 9 on the offensive side of the ball and 8 on the defensive side of the ball. I want to thank some guys that have done just an incredible job with this recruiting. It's a team effort. Everybody in the program's involved with it. But our general manager, Wes Fritz, has done a fabulous job of identifying and staying on top of different guys. Casey Smithson, who works with the player personnel, and then also Jay Gerdner and Jake Pittman, who are both over here. These guys have worked countless hours making sure that these guys understand how appreciated they are at the University of Houston. So this is a culmination of a year, some of these guys, 2 years of effort in getting them to come here as well. Then our operations staff, Shane Meyer and Mari McLaughlin, and then also our creative staff, Jordan Burgess and Adrian Romero. Those guys do a great job every time somebody comes in, and we take pictures and do all those kind of things. I'm sure you saw some of those things earlier. Uh, should I go through the kids, or do you want me to go with questions, Fletcher? What do you guys think? And we go through some of the kids with you. The first kid I want to make sure I go through that has been incredibly loyal to the University of Houston is Keshan Henderson. It's the highest rated guy who's ever signed with the University of Houston. He's the #1 overall recruit in one publication. He's the #1 quarterback in, I think, almost all the publications. He, a lot of people, very, very interested in him. We were really one of the first schools that offered him, a year ago last summer. We just, looked at his film and identified him as a quarterback. And we're so excited to have Keshan and his family join us. Great young man, represents all the things that we want in a student athlete here at the University of Houston. And something else too, I believe out of these 17 guys, I think 13 of them are going to be coming in early. They're graduating early, and we'll be here at the University of Houston in January with Keshan being one of those guys. So we're very, very proud of the fact that, we had him, for a long period of time, stayed loyal to us. And we're just excited. I think he's a big time football player, and we're excited about his future here in the quarterback room. And and I mentioned all those people who did a great job with all the different people. I also want to give kudos to Sean Bell, our quarterback coach. I think those two developed a really close relationship, and I think that certainly helped in our pursuit and of Keshan, and great relationships with his mom, his sister, his grandpa, everybody in his family. And then his high school coach, Michael Bishop, played for me at Blinn Junior College, and he and I are very, very close. And so it takes a village, right, to get a guy of that caliber. And we're just really, really excited to have Keshan join us. John Abear. John is a guy that it really came on this year. He's from Straight Jesuit High School, had a fantastic season. Their team had a fantastic season, rushed for over 8,000 yards. I'll repeat that. He rushed for over 8,000 yards, which is very, very difficult to do. I've been doing this a long time. I don't know if I've ever had anybody rush for over 8,000 yards. Great speed, movement, tough. Uh, he's another guy that we're going to have in here early as well. Uh, Scoop Martin from over Willis. Uh, I'm a former Willis Wildcat myself many years ago, but I think he is, one of the best tight ends, if not the best tight end in the state of Texas. Great size, movement, speed, hands, toughness, all the things that you're looking for in a tight end. My defensive coaches are fighting to try to get him on the defensive side of the ball. I don't think he played much on the defensive side prior to this year. And he had they played him on defense, and Willis is still playing. Uh, and he's a guy that I think is going to make a big time impact in our program. Obviously, I think probably something that was attractive to Scoop was the fact that we utilize our tight end. We always have all the different places that I've been. Tanner Kozel is I think the top tight end in the country, top tight end in the Big 12. And he saw all those things and is excited to come over here. Kevon Roberts. All right. Kevon is from Port Arthur Memorial, big, tall, wide receiver. He is first cousins with Landon Roberts, who played here at the University of Houston, still playing pro football. I believe this is Landon's 10th year of playing in the NFL. So we had a little bit of an in with Kevon also. He was over here a bunch this summer, and Memorial had a fantastic season led by Kevon. So we're excited about him. Jeremiah Bushnell, he's from Iowa, Louisiana, not Iowa, Iowa, Louisiana. Really quick wide receiver, good length, size, all the things you're looking for in a receiver. We wanted to pick up some guys that had some length, speed, catchability, route running ability, courage to block out on the perimeter. We want everybody to be able to block, and Jeremiah definitely has all those attributes as well. Aaron Wolford, I'm sorry, I might have to keep these glasses on. Aaron's from Port Neches Grove. They've had a fantastic season. They're still playing. They're still going. They seem to have a great year, year after year after year. Big offensive lineman, 6'4", 290. We got him committed early in the process, and we're very excited about having Aaron in our football program. It's sometimes difficult to get a high quality offensive lineman coming out of high school because there's such a need at every school for those guys. And Aaron probably going to be more of an interior guy, guard, center, possibly. Another offensive lineman that we had is Rhett Gray. Reminds me of Dalton Merriman a little bit. He's 6'7". That's a legit 6'7", 290 pounds. Great feet, movement. Played in a very competitive league up there from Weatherford, Texas. I think he has got outstanding potential. Obviously, he's got tremendous length, and those are the things you want to have with an offensive tackle, in the Big 12. Troy Pless, a huge offensive lineman, 6'5". We got him listed as 300 pounds. I think he might be a couple ounces more than 300, but he's a big fella, and also plays for a great program in Shoemaker over in a clean area. They run a great program, and we're excited to have him. And then Noah Abibi from Friendswood High School, 6'4", 275. He was a tight end last year, and they moved him to offensive line. And just like you'd think, a guy that played tight end, great feet, great movement. I think there's a lot I think he play every position on the offensive line. He could possibly be a center, a guard, tackle. We're very, very excited about him. He turned down a bunch of people to come here, as all these guys did. We had, every one of these guys that I'm talking about had multiple Power Four offers. It wasn't just the University of Houston, multiple Power Four offers, and Noah certainly is one of them. And we're very, very excited about having him in our football program. On the defensive side of the ball, Caleb Walker, he can play a defensive end for us. He can play inside. He might grow into a possible a three technique, but unbelievable speed, quickness, uh, very disruptive. Lindell High School over in East Texas, and we're very pumped to have him. A guy that we got a little bit later in the process who had a bunch of offers. A bunch of teams that are playing in the college football playoffs or should be playing the college football playoffs. Isaiah Broughton from Cy Ridge High School. He's a pro measure, 6'4". When I say pro measure, that means barefoot, heels together, V, toes pointed up. Uh, Sometimes you hear that a guy's 6'4", and then I meet him and he's about the same height as me. But he's got great movement, 300 plus pounds, and he's going to be coming in early as well. I know he wants to compete for playing time as a true freshman. Bryson Carlisle, a linebacker from Arlington Bowie High School. Every game is a highlight game for him. He has anywhere from 10 to 15 tackles every ball game. One of the things I do is I watch tape on guys on Monday. They kind of put together a little highlight film for me, and he always had highlights week after week after week. James Henderson from Cy Falls High School, a tall corner. I watched him. He played the other day against North Shore here at our stadium. So I watched that film on Monday. North Shore won, but James certainly played well. He's got good frame on him. I think he's got an opportunity to be a big, tall, long corner, which is what you're looking for because a lot of people are putting tall guys out there on the perimeter. Uh, Xavier Fleming from Louisville High School up near the Dallas-Fort Worth area. He's got unbelievable movement. We saw him. Some people are, weary of a guy who's not a real tall guy, but he's a real long guy with his reach, measurements, and he reminds me a lot of Carlos Allen. Uh, Carlos is not 6'5", but he's a dominating, inside guy in the Big 12, a guy that I think will, play pro football someday. So we're really excited about Xavier and what he brings to the program. Javen Holmes, a big safety from over in Baton Rouge, Madison Prep High School, another Louisiana guy that we got. He has a highlight on both sides of the ball every single week that you watch him. Excellent football player. Dossie, is that the nickname we give him, right? That's what I always call him because I don't want to goof up pronouncing his name. But he is from West Columbia High School. He's another guy, came to camp and just jumped out at us. We think he's got unlimited potential and he can play corner. He might be able even to grow into being a big safety, tall safety. He's 6 foot at least, superior speed. We think he's got a tremendous future in front of him. And then the last guy that we got is Tyler Kovar, linebacker from Magnolia High School. We were very fortunate. We got him in the game a little bit later with him, and just every week, he put up highlight film quality on in each game that he played, and he's another guy that we think is going to put some size. He's almost 6'2" and going to be a taller, longer linebacker who can really run. But those are the guys that I can talk about. We got a few other guys that I think are going to be signed for us by Friday, and we'll go ahead and release those guys at that time. But that's when they're having their actual sign-in party. So I'm making sure that I'm, abiding by their wishes to kind of wait until that time to release it. With all that, any questions?
We'll send it over to Joseph.
Hey Willie, thanks for doing this.
You bet.
Willie, now that you can talk about it, I was wondering what the last 18 months have been like since Keshan committed in terms of holding on to a guy that everybody in the country wanted, and sort of the specialness of having a player of that caliber commit to your program at the University of Houston.
Well, commitment means that you're in first place, in the recruiting process. And that doesn't stop anybody from going after a guy. And like I said before with Keyshawn, he just has been loyal from the get-go. He was really, really, proud of the fact, and we were proud of the fact that we were the first ones to offer him, from a Power Four school, a long time ago. And he started coming to games and camps. And to be quite honest with you, I believe this is the best class in the history of the University of Houston. And we're going to have some additions, and we got some, obviously a 5-star with Keyshawn, a couple 4-stars, and we're going to have some all the rest of the guys are at least 3-star type guys. But a big part of us getting this class was Keshan Henderson. When he gets done playing football here in 20, 25 years, whatever it's going to be, he needs to get into coaching because he is one heck of a recruiter, and he's got great belief in what we're doing here at the University of Houston. And we're just proud to have him join us.
Send it to Jason.
Well, Willie, you just answered my question because I was going to say typically when you see these highly regarded guys, I wonder sometimes if they act as a recruiter as well, but it sounds like you answered my question before I could even get to it. But was he pretty active right off the bat, I guess, in terms of bringing buddies and other recruits in here, or did it take him a while to do that, you think?
In this day and age with the traveling 7-on-7 and all the different camps and things, and social media, these kids all know each other, and everybody certainly knows him. Uh, so obviously, I think it helped us. Some kids probably thought, hey, if the number one player in the nation, not the number one quarterback, the number one player in the nation is coming to University of Houston, heck, I need to look at this place, and I think it opened some doors for us without question.
Jackson.
Hey, Coach. Talking about John Hebert, he was a guy that was committed to Washington State, I believe, at first. Then you guys offered him, and then I believe he flipped pretty quickly after that. But what did y'all see from him being kind of late in the mix, maybe in his recruitment, that really stood out to you, that made y'all want to pull the trigger and offer him and get him in this class?
Well, just every game. I mean, he puts up mind-blowing numbers. I mean, I think a couple of weeks ago, he had over 300 yards rushing and over 150 yards in reception yardage. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Every week they'd bring me his stats and I'd watch a film. And I was like, God Almighty! And it wasn't a secret that he was carrying the football. I mean, every person in the stadium knew that he was going to be carrying the football, and he still got it done. And as I said before, over 8,000 yards, in his career, unbelievable. 88 career rushing touchdowns. He had 385 this year against Fulshear, a very good program. 3 straight games of over 300 yards. He did that twice, 3 games in a row over 300 yards, and then he did it again during the season, 3 more. So 6 games, he had over 300 yards. 2 straight seasons rushing for over 3,500 yards. So it wasn't like he had 2,000 as a freshman, 2,000 as a sophomore, et cetera, all the way up. He had over 7,000 yards just his last 2 seasons. So just, he's very deserving of the 4-star ranking. He's a touchdown club player of the year finalist. I think that's next week, I believe. But just an unbelievable career. Just we're just very, very happy to have him.
Send it over to Sam.
Sorry, I was trying to get unmuted there. Willie, on Keshan, there were other programs that had offered him at other positions. What about him from a ability and trait standpoint made you guys believe in him as a quarterback?
Everything that he does. I mean, I'm not quite sure why some other people were late to the game, but he's got great height, great length, unbelievable speed and movement. Uh, you know, he's been taught by Davy O'Brien award winner quarterback, and uh, so he's got great mechanics. He makes all the throws. I always talk about a one ball, a two ball, a three ball. All right. And some guys can do two of the three. Some guys can only do one of the three. He can do them all. He's got to put zip on, he puts zip. He's got to put touch on, he can do touch. He's throwing the go ball, on the outside. He can go ahead and put some loft to it. But then he's got he's a dual threat guy. I love dual threat quarterbacks. I just think he's a complete package. Here's something else too. We have him in all these camps, and we try to challenge these guys mentally as well during these camps to see what they can process. And man, he's sharp, he's smart, and he's a really good person. I know everybody says that about everybody, but he's a great young man and fun to be around. And when you have a quarterback, that guy, you hope he has got natural leadership skills, and Keshan certainly has that.
Was there ever a point? I know there were other schools, obviously, that were pursuing him after he was committed, like you said. Was there ever a point that you guys ever were nervous about the commitment, or did you guys feel strong all the way that he was going to stick?
We felt strong all the way with him. You name a top 20 school, he was offered by him. And he just was very loyal to us, and he loves the city of Houston. And that's so. Yeah, we were good the whole way through. We were excited about it.
We'll send it over to Kenneth.
He's very close with his family. It's one of the things I always see. I know this is going to happen January 2nd. The portal's going to open up, and there's going to be some kids that have gone a long ways away from their hometown of Houston, Texas, East Texas, maybe, draw a 2-hour circle around Houston, thinking the grass is a little bit greener. Then they get there and it's only green. All right. And they want to come back home. And some guys realize that on the front end. I'm really close to my family. I want to, I want to do it here. I like going home. I like them coming over, seeing me. And until people go away, they don't realize what a hardship it is. And every place I've recruited, I've always recruited locally because it works out better. You don't have kids leaving your program, and I think Keshan recognized that early. He's very close with his family, and we're very excited to have him.
Kenneth, do you want a question?
Yes.
Go for it.
So our coach with Keshan, he was considered an athlete when he committed, and now he's the #1 player in the nation as quarterback. Just how does it feel knowing that you kind of hit on a guy, and that he's so sought out after, and also what have you seen from his growth just throughout his high school career?
It's funny. The other day, when I saw him, and I guess before our game, I was asking him, hey, man, how much you weighing now? And he's over 190 pounds. He's changed physically, don't you guys think, over the time? And now it's been 18 months, but he's going to be a guy, and once he gets in here in our strength program and eating every day, and our nutritionist, and all, he's going to be probably over 200, 205 as a true freshman. The next year, he's probably going to be 220 in a couple of years. So he's got, great growth potential, probably going to get another inch taller. But I just saw all the things that you're looking for in a quarterback. And then obviously, I could ask his high school coach about him. Michael and I are very close and have been since I coached him in 95, 96. It's not like we just started talking when I got the job here in Houston. We've been close all this time through, and it's good that you can ask questions about a guy's character and you trust the guy who's giving you the information. All he could say was great things about Keshan.
Send him back to Sam.
Willie, with this class, I know you guys always prioritize the city, but it seemed like this 26 group, the city of Houston was really talented in the 26 class. How big a priority was that when you guys started on this cycle evaluating, more than a year ago, and how pleased were you in terms of how you did in terms of getting guys from local schools?
Well, it's so good, when you have recruiting time periods where guys can come on campus. Shoot, you might have, instead of having a guy over once or twice, he might be over 7, 8, 9 times, to watch you practice, tour the campus, whatever the case may be for unofficial visits. So it makes it easy to recruit these guys. And I'll admit it, I push it. I tell them all the time, hey, you won't know how much better it is to be close to home until you go someplace far away. And to be quite honest with you, that's one of the reasons why we turned the program at my last school. Kids were leaving New Orleans and going other places, and they found out, God, what a hardship it is for my people to come see me play. What a hardship it is for me to go back home. And, then they transferred back. And uh, yeah, we're always going to make Houston a big time priority.
And with high school recruiting, I know you've always said you want this to be a developmental program. Uh, Obviously, the portal is a big part of the college landscape now, but how important, why is high school recruiting still important to your program?
Well, like you said, you get a guy in. Number one, a bunch of these guys are going to be here in January. You're going to be developing them. I think a bunch of these guys got a chance to play for us as true freshmen. And the reason for that is they're here in the spring, they're here in the summer. They understand the system. They don't have the pressure of the season up on them. Uh, I just think, I've done this for a while, and I do still feel like, there's loyalty with a guy that comes in and you coach them. They see that we coach these kids tough now. We're gonna, get them better. We're very, very demanding in the classroom, off the field, on the field as well. But guys want to be in that program if they want to be elite. And these guys that we've recruited, they all have that trait in common. They want to be elite. And I think it's important to have high school kids. I know that when the portal comes open January the 2nd, through the 16th, correct? There's going to be some guys we're going to grab there, some positions that we're going to need immediate help, maybe with the depth or whatever the case may be, graduation with some guys. But we want to, probably going to take another year. We want to be where we're taking fewer and fewer, portal guys and more high school guys.
Send over Joseph.
Willie, not just for Keshan, but all of the I believe you said 13 or so kids that are going to enroll in January. What does that head start do for them? And maybe specifically on Keshan being a quarterback, getting in the system and getting those valuable practice time in the spring.
It's big. It's big. As a matter of fact, playing in a bowl game, some of these guys are going to be able to, come and practice with us for the bowl games as well, which is huge. Also. But I just think the best thing about these guys coming in January is the pressure of the season is not upon us. And we get to spend more quality time off the field with them. And it's not all about football. And they get to learn how we do things academically. They get to learn how we do things off the field, understanding of the campus, residence hall, meeting their teammates, and not a pressure-packed situation. So to me, that's a huge advantage of having guys here that come in at semester as opposed to, back, 10 years ago, freshmen were allowed to come in the summer. They couldn't come in January for sure. So they'd come in and the season would start and you already kind of knew who you're playing. And unless the guy was real sharp, he was going to have a difficult time getting into the lineup as a backup and certainly as a starter. So that's why more true freshmen are playing now.
I want to double check. So you said some of the guys that are in this class can join you for workouts. So if that's the case, how do you sort of carve out time for them as you worry about your game and your team currently, but do you find time to get them some little hands-on type work if when they do join you?
Yeah, you betcha. After practice gets over, and you do some things with them individually. I do a lot of individual technique work anyway. Uh, I think that's more important than the scheme. We do both, but we do a lot of technique, fundamental work, and those guys will be a part of that, and they'll get to see how these guys are doing the drills, and we don't have class during that time period, so we're on a 20-hour week instead of an 8-hour week, so we can devote a little bit more time to the guys as well. So yeah, it's I haven't really had a chance to do that with very many guys. We haven't had certainly not 13 guys that graduated early that could come join us for bowl prep practices.
Couple more, we'll send it to Sam.
Willie, when you got this job, I think it was right around signing day and the portal was about to open. How beneficial was it to have the full lead time in coming into this cycle for evaluation and the whole process?
Big time. We played an extra week. I guess we'd be playing this weekend at Tulane. And then I had to take care of some stuff when I got here with going around and visiting different people for about 3 or 4 days. And so by the time I took over, school was out of session at U of H. You could not go out and recruit. It was dead period. And then all of a sudden the portal opens up and we're just scrambling, and so yeah, we've got a plan and we've got time to execute the plan on a daily basis. A day doesn't go by that we don't sit around and visit about recruiting, whether it's with the recruiting staff, the guys I mentioned before. We're always trying to improve things, whether it's the visit or the campus tour, the official visit, the unofficial visit, the showing our unbelievable facilities. So there's so many people involved in the recruiting process, and you never know who's going to make a difference. I always tell people that you never know who's going to be the one that got it done, and but usually it's a bunch of people that get it done. But yeah, those bowl prep practices are going to be big.
And with Wes and your personnel staff, how much does their organization and consistency, I guess, mean in putting together a class like this?
Huge. Wes makes most of the decisions on who we're taking, who we're not taking. We like input from the position coaches. I'm the only person who can tell him no, we're not going on that guy, and he's right most of the time. I believe at one point in time at Tulane, we had 17 guys in the NFL, and 12 of them, we were their only Division I offer. So we had to do that. Now, with these unbelievable facilities, unbelievable university, the location that we have, we're at the epicenter of football in the world. We can go ahead and recruit. We can get a 5-star guy who's the number one, prospect in the nation, all positions. We can get 4-star guys. We can get people like that. That was a pipe dream for us last year. And it was a pipe dream for me certainly to other places that I've been at.
Yeah, I want to follow up on that statistic you said about Tulane. I noticed you guys have been able to find under the radar guys and develop them. What is it about your process that you feel like you guys are able to see and identify what other people are not?
Well, I just think, number one, character, big deal. We want to find bona fide Division I student athletes with character. I have no desire to have a bunch of problems. And, and there's some guys that we've gotten who, maybe went someplace else and came to our place and they see the difference in the interaction and with the coaches and the players and vice versa, and players with the other players. And hopefully you guys see that when you come out to practice. I've had a lot of pro scouts tell me that, hey man, this is a different run organization than some of the other places that we go to. So we look for that first and foremost. Then we look for ability. We get to pick the players we want. I'm sometimes shocked when colleges or NFL teams bring in problems. They get a draft, right? They don't have to take anybody, you know, they can take the guy they want to. And so it's, you know, you got to be a great talent evaluator and you got to be an information gatherer. If you can do both of those, you got an opportunity to be a great recruiter. And that's what we aspire to be, everybody in our program. Uh, it used to be set the coaches out, they did their position. I want my coaches to coach. I want them to have some say so in who we're recruiting. I want them to put a stamp on there. But the big thing I want out of them is when they go out is to be an information gatherer and say, hey, this guy is our kind of guy that we're recruiting.
Send it over to Jackson for the last question.
Coach, I just wanted to talk about Mudasir Abdullah or Dossie. You know, he was a guy that not a lot of schools were necessarily taking a shot on. Y'all extended an offer to him after the camp, after seeing him at camp and everything like that. I believe he might be the second recruit or second recruit, at least to knowledge, since Cam Ward to really kind of go to a Power 4 school. Just what did y'all see from him? I know he played a lot of offense throughout his high school career as well as defensively.
Well, you know, camps are so valuable, you know, to get the guys to camp. And that's another great thing for us. We got unbelievable locations. So a lot of great players from you know, driving distances can come in here and, you know, and then we got great facilities. We got the best indoor facility in the nation. We got 2 unbelievable grass practice fields. We got a great stadium. You know, now we have a great football operations center. So when we get them in here, we've already watched tape, you know, and sometimes, you know, it's just a rubber stamp, boom. You know, let's get him in here. Let's watch him see, like for Dossie's, hey, seen him do in one-on-one, see him in competition. How does he compare, you know, with some of these other top flight guys that are in here? And, you know, and he passed the test. He did a fantastic job. And then obviously had a great senior year as well. You know, so you want to do all the homework before they come in. And then when they come in, you want to put them through a battery of tests that kind of shows you that, hey, yeah, this guy can play big time Power 4 football.
All good, Coach.
I'm
Thank you,
good.
Coach. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you all for coming. Appreciate it.